Morning, everybody. We're going to make a start now. Andy, if you can flick to the next slide, please. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Michelle, and this morning I'm going to be joined with Andy Laycock, our AEC application engineer and BIM specialist. He's going to be doing a bit of a technical demo on BIM 360, or as now known as Autodesk Docs. Just a little bit of housekeeping for this morning. You all should be muted and have no need for a microphone. If you do have any questions or queries though, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A box and we will come back to them at the end of the session. Next slide, Andy, please. Just a little bit of information about Quadra, just in case any of you haven't dealt with us before. Quadra specialise in Autodesk, CAD and Zuken PCB design solutions. On the Autodesk side of the world, which I think is what you'll most be interested in, we do all the software training and technical support and consultancy, covering all architectural and manufacturing requirements. If you can, next slide, please, Andy. So what's BIM 360? Well, it's a little bit of a moot point at the moment. BIM 360 as it was is now known as Autodesk Construction Cloud. It's changed its name, however, does pretty much exactly the same thing. It's a unified platform connecting your project teams and data in real time from design through to construction. One of the main changes throughout the Construction Cloud is that now BIM 360 as it was, is now compatible with ISO 19650. Next slide, please, Andy. So BIM 360 Docs, or is now known as Autodesk Docs, is being introduced as part of the AEC collection, which is the point of today's webinar, to give you all a bit of an insight as to exactly what's going to be included in your existing package. For those of you who don't have the AEC collection is a full architectural package that contains all of the software that you need from design to build. So Andy's going to give you a quick demonstration of the software to show you exactly what's going to be involved, how to use it, how to run projects, etc., and take it from there. And if you have got any questions at the end, please give us a shout via the Q&A. Andy, we can hand over to you now. You can.
Thanks, Michelle. That's really good. Thanks for that. Just a quick one, guys. The quick little bit about myself. My background is in Autodesk primarily. I've used AutoCAD for about 30 years, since release 10 on an old 286. I've worked at Quadra for 7 years. I'm an Autodesk certified professional, Autodesk certified instructor with a silver level instructor certification. I teach AutoCAD, Revit, all the platforms as was, but Revit, architecture, structural, mechanical, family creation. I deal with the AutoCAD electrical, Plant 3D, and when everybody else is out, I deal with Inventor. So I have quite a broad portfolio from an Autodesk point of view. So that's about my professional life. A bit about myself, but from a personal point of view, I'm a drummer. I've been a drummer for 30 years. Again, I should be better. That's my acoustic kit, my electric kit. In my spare time, which I don't have an awful lot of, I like to do triathlons and lakeland trail runs, as you can see the beautiful lakes that we get involved with, and that's how I normally finish my trail runs. Pretty knackered, to be honest, but always good day out. So back to the thing in hand. We're going to call it BIM Docs at this point, as opposed to Construction Cloud, because it's only recently become Construction Cloud, so you'll have to forgive me on that. That's what my brain calls it. So the important things about this ecosystem is that it's a single source of the truth. It's an online repository for all your data. It gives you a place to store documents, view documents. There's a viewing window for non-CAD users, so other stakeholders. We have the option for revision control, comparisons, markups, and version control. So basically, your Revit users use it like they were working on a normal environment, like a normal server, with their shares and their links and their coordination. The other stakeholders can mark up and do all their data in one place, so you know who's done what and when. It's, as I mentioned before, this great phrase of a single source of the truth. As a unit, you've got unlimited space. You've got data security and data integrity. You've got communications between your internal teams and external teams. You've got markup, version control, issue, transmittals, and we can also create sheet sets. And we've got review and issue process that's all documented within the system. Again, it's online, so that helps you reduce your IT costs, and everything runs on Amazon servers, so it's never going to fall over. Your BIM users, so your Revit users, it's just another drive effectively for them, because we use a desktop connector which allows the connectivity between the users login and the multiple projects they're potentially using. So it's basically everywhere. So in this particular time of COVID, we can be working from home, we can be working from the office, we can work from site, we can work from anywhere really. It allows collaboration from multiple teams. We just, as a structural engineer, for instance, you may just get the architect's model and you may get it from email at the moment, or FTP site, or WeTransfer, or Dropbox, something like that. But in this instance, you just literally go and pick it up from the cloud, from your BIM 360 projects environment, where all the rights are set up, all the permissions. You don't have this issue of the potential of somebody sending an email and being missed, because it's all there for the groups, the roles or participants and companies. So we'll go through that a little bit later. It's available online everywhere. Anywhere you've got an online device, you can have your Android, you can have your iPad, you can have anything that's got an internet connection that's secure that you can use for connectivity. If you don't have connectivity on site for markups, you can always use it offline. We can use an offline connection, go to site, do your markups, do your issues, do your pictures from your machine, from your device, put them onto the issues, and then you can upload them to synchronize with the cloud when you next get a connection. So it's across the board. It's from the office right through to site and right through into commissioning and handover, and also running of the building eventually. Everybody has the project home. Everybody who's got access to the project has their own project home. So in this case, you can see we've got one version there, another version there where you've got one in Fahrenheit and one in Celsius. We've also got these things called library cards, which allow us to manipulate and change this layout for ourselves. We also have local weather information, as you can see there, to the site. If you feel the urge to get into programming, there's an option to make your own cards to extract the data using the Forge interface. So we've got lots of options there, most of which are covered out of the box, as it were. We have permissions based. As you can see in this, we have permissions based on, just a second, let's get my laser pointer. We have permissions based on, in this instance, full control for users. We have role base, we have company base, and as you can see, the structural engineer there is part of the structural company, so therefore they have the same permissions. We'll have a look at that as we move through the project, through the demo. We also have, one second, we also have the comparison function, so we can compare views in Revit, or 3D views as well. We have the overlay view and the 2D view for PDF imports, where we extract data. Again, we'll cover that later. And this is the 2D version, but with a slightly different look to it. So you've got an overlay, and you've got the side-by-side view, which is like as if you had two pieces of paper and you're flicking them back and forth, the way we used to check for changes on drawings. We have markups, which are private markups or published. You can edit them, keep them, do what need be, and put them through a full process. We also have issues, so for design issues, change orders, that sort of thing, can all be controlled. And again, all the process happens in this environment. So the markups can be published or open and closed, but issues can be open, answered, closed, and voided. So you've got a full gamut of information there. We're going to look at a video of the introduction to the Revit collaboration in the BIM environment. If anybody struggles with sound, just let me know. So I've talked over this one. The reason being that the upload times and download times vary depending on what you're uploading. So I've made this quite succinct. So this is the way the tool in the upload environment. Just try to find my play button. 1 second. There we go. we're not getting any volume there, so I will speak it. So we can see we've got the project environment listing here. This is the project folder. We're looking at the BIM presentation here. This is my Revit environment, obviously. I start coordination as I would in Revit and go to BIM 360. This uses my desktop connector to connect to the shared data set, and you can see that the population of the file structure is there waiting for me to use, because my desktop connector brings me that representation in here, which is of my project files location. We'll discuss project files and other things later. So we initiate that project file. We have a local caching. We then have the upload of the model to the cloud. We have two versions on initial upload. One is for the initial drop of the data. The second one is for the collaboration as it moves forward. Again, these things take a little bit more time. Normally we would in a project environment, we present these out at on a Friday. So we see it's now processed on the cloud on version 1. We're going to now go into the publish settings. We can see we've got multiple sheets here and multiple views for different uses, obviously the floor plans and the ceiling plans. So under publish settings, I'm going to create a document set. I could have done this before the coordination setup. I just didn't, so this is why we're going to have an extra version, but it's irrelevant. So I can see the views that are in the model as a whole group. You can see I've got filters there, so I'm going to look for initially the sheets. I'm going to select all, so I can select one by one or multiple sheets, or I can just hit the select all button there. Then now in that sheet set, I'm going to go to my default 3D view and bring that one in there as well. So now I can just have a quick glance at my sheet sets views, and I can see what's in there. So I just check that I've got what I need, save and close that. I can create multiple sets, so that's not an issue. So we now look at the synchronize to central, as you would in the normal environment if you're working on a server. So we're going to now publish this to the cloud. So effectively you can see this is where it's released. It's already been released on the first publish, which is still processing AC version 2. So initial publish, then release, if you like. So you've got your working document and then your release document. So now I'm going to synchronize the central there. Then we're going to do go back to the managed cloud models, which will then allow me to show you that it's not synchronized now because the latest release has not been updated with the data set, with the sheet set. Again, it takes a little while to synchronize on this end. That is working. That's cool. So you can see that it's not the latest version, so I can publish there. If I have multiple documents in this environment for this particular project, I can publish them all in one go. That's giving me a little bit of feedback, just letting me know what's happening. And the upper right section here, you can see if I drop that down there, you'd have publish all effectively. I didn't show it in the video. So it's now presenting I could continue working. It's showing that it's publishing the latest. I could close that down and then come back to it. So you say now it's published. When we go back to the BIM 360 environment, as it is at the moment, or in this video at least, we will see that you've now got another version. So version 3 is now processing that version, so it's ready for viewing for the model viewer, and all the sheets are then clarified out. And you can see the different versions there. So we have the version releases. So no worried about, did John send me that email last Tuesday? It's all here. So this is the model view, which we'll look at a little bit in more depth later. So this is what you see online. That's my single view, my single document, and my multiple views of the sheets that I released in that sheet set. So saying so, what's happening now? Let me have a look. Let's see what's happening here. Quick jump forward. Oh yeah, so at this point we're going to close the document and just show that we have the two elements the two files. So this one is my local file. That's my Workshare file. You can see the Workshare environment there on the cloud. So for general practice, I would probably go back into my drive, either rename or remove that folder so we don't have any issues with using the wrong data set. So next thing is a live demo. So we're going to have a quick look at the interface. So excuse me, I'll just have a minute or two setting up. Let's find my pages. So within this environment, you can see it's now called Construction Cloud. It was BIM 360 in the video, so you'll see that jump back and forth a little bit. We have multiple tiers of information. So we've got the admin module here. This is the admin for the whole set of projects, for all my projects as the administrator. Across the top, I'm going to jump through these. It just says it reloading pages. From here, we can see we have all my projects that are listed. I can see all the members that relate to all those projects. If I go to me as a member, I can see my bio that comes through from my Autodesk account and see the projects that I'm related to. Companies, same again, the companies that are related to all the projects. I can then look at what projects that particular company is dealing with. Roles is really important. Roles is a system where we can use for populating permissions. Permissions obviously give people access to different areas of the file structure. It's a good thing to use because in this instance, you can see, I'll show you in a moment, we have different companies, different roles, but if we use role-based permissions, it means you can populate a brand new database with a full set of data without having any people in it. So it's quite a good, useful tool. We can also add roles here, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of roles already available. There's 39 roles, but you can add as many as you want and pre-populate permissions. Analytical data, this is analytics for the whole project, depending what tiles I've got showing and giving more information how it's visible. Settings, we've got the settings for the project groups, so it's not just a particular project. So we've got the business units for financial things, and we've got the profile, and we've got the other admins in this unit. The next thing we're going to do is have a quick look at the project admins itself. So we're down a tier on this, so you can see that this is the project admins. We were in the account admins on the previous tab. So from the project admins, we can see that we are looking at the members. So these are the members that relate to this particular project and their permission set. We're going to look at the companies, and again, we can see the companies that relate to this particular project. Services, we'll have a quick look at this. It's not particularly relevant for today, but we'll have a quick look at this. The document management service is what we're going to call BIM 360 Docs for now. It's not quite that, but because the license is just changing, but essentially that's going to be a document management system. Insight is what I'll get my review information from, and that is all there all the time. Insight's required for everything else. These other modules won't be available within your general collection environment unless you purchase extra levels of the collaboration cloud. So you can see that they're available there, but that's because I have them as a license. The profile is about the project itself, so the address information, that sort of thing. We're going to quickly now move on to the document management, which is what we're here for. So we have two areas within the document management itself. We've got the plans folder. The plans folder is essentially your field documentation. Drawings in 2D and 3D format can be put up there. We can release other information into that relate to the guys on site effectively. Your project files information is your live data, if you like, your release data for your Revit and things like that. So we're going to quickly look at this to start with, because this is where we started with. So if I look at permissions here at this level, we can see we've got permissions by role at this point. If I go to my architectural documentation, we can see the permission stays up, but there's a subsequent change for the architect there on role. But equally, I've got the structural company as a company listed and the architectural company, MEP company. Obviously, different rights are required for different areas and different people. So we have a base level of, in this case, I've got a base level of view and download so that everybody can use each other's information in a secure manner. But obviously, I don't want anybody uploading. I don't want the HVAC guys uploading to the architects, but I may want in this case, the structural guys. I may choose to remove that there, and that'll take him back to it'll remove that and give him access through the structural engineer area. So we've got a granulation of control here. There's no explicit deny. I just want to show this really quickly. If I go to the architect, the architect at Quadra is part of the architectural group, and he's also part of the architectural group for the company. The company's got a higher level than the architect, and therefore that is what the architect at Quadra will get. Will get full control. It's an additional situation, not a removal. So we're going to move on to the next tab. Going to quick look at we're going to come back to that, sorry. At this point, we're going to now make a new project. So from here, I go back to my project admins. As you can see, I'm here. Go to my projects. I'm going to look at the process of creating a project. Oops, I've missed that completely, sorry. Okay, so we have a project type. So we've got multiple project types down in this list, as you can see. I'm going to drop to the bottom quickly because I've got a demo option down here. It just helps me clarify my my project list. So we've got a construction type. We have a value, small project apparently. We've got a contract type, so a D&B. We've got start dates. These are all editable. They're notional at this point, obviously, because this is not really a project, but we can look at this information. This is our BIM level 2 project number, if you like, or ISO 9650 project number. Imaginative there. We're going to put the address details in. Just let me find my my address details. 1 second. Sorry, guys. This is our training suite that we're going to use as the address details. So it's actually where I'm sat today. And we'll show that brings the weather up, how beautiful it is around the Darwin area. I can also pick a project image, which helps to clarify it in my list. And there's also, as I mentioned, business unit for financial purposes, but no requirement for that at the moment. That's now created the project. It should take me to the project admins, so ready to add my users and things. At the moment, there's no document management assigned because it may not require it. Most things do. So let's be right about it. Most things do. So we're going to activate that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the template that's going to be the project we've been looking at earlier. So if I just quickly glance back at this, we can see the documentation here. Just a quick heads up on the listing of the project structure, so you can see that how it comes through. So I'm going to activate that now. So that'll take a minute or so to populate the document structure within this project. In the meantime, I'm going to show you a template project. So you could create template projects with all the different structures and permissions, but as we've mentioned before, there's no users in this project. There's no members. There's no companies, because they don't get populated through anyway. This is just a template project, a sample structure. So I could do all this structural build for my permissions, and I could set up all my other background data. And as you can see, the roles there push through. If I go to my architectural, my architecture has got higher levels there, and the architectural has got even higher levels, and we work our way through, and you can see that I've pre-populated all this information for the different roles. So if I have the time, I would ideally build a structure that suits my company's organizational structure. So this is what we can do and use that for every project thereafter. So now this project documentation has been populated for the new project. We can see it there. I don't have my document management listed here because it's just a web page. It's not refreshed, it's not re-rendered, so re-render there. We can now go to the project management there, the document management, sorry, and we can immediately see, once we go into the architects folder, that's where we were looking before, we can immediately see that the permissions are populated and through the whole project, but obviously this project has no members and no companies, so they couldn't be brought through, and it'd be silly to do that anyway. So one moment, just a quick look at my notes. Go back to this project. I'm just going to quickly show you how to add members. Members, obviously I'm the member, the primary member, I'm the active administrator, so because I created the thing. So I'm going to add a new member. I can architect, structural engineer, HVAC, put my shell in there. This is adding the users, not the permissions. So here I get to pick which company they're from. So the architect, the structural engineer, HVAC, find it, there we go, and Michelle. Roles, obviously everybody's got a membership of this, the document management, because otherwise there's no point in being here. But if I go to architect on this one, Michelle's the owner, she's also a BIM manager in this case. So watch the population of the permissions change here. So this is why we use role-based. So I'm going to add those to the project. We can see that now those companies have been populated through. The services, as we mentioned before, are there. So then obviously by inference of the architect of the architect at Quadra being an architect within the architectural role group, when I come to this permissions, they have access as architect there, and I don't have to mess about adding the architectural practice to the permissions here because it's got the correct permissions. We're next going to move through to the large model viewer, it used to be called, but it's just called the model viewer now. So we are going to look at a Revit model that's been uploaded. So we have a lot of control here. This is a really nice interface. These are, bear in mind, the only thing we've done in Revit was that little video. Everything else has been done online. So we're getting on quite well. This is the guys who don't have Revit. You just have a license for access to this portal. So I can navigate as we would with many applications. We can zoom in, zoom out. We can pan, middle mouse button. There's other functions down here like orbit and pan and zoom window, which is quite a useful one. I have to finish it off to close it. Got fit to window. I've got first person, which I'm going to look at in a moment. If I double click on an entity, it zooms it to fill my screen. Equally there. I can then go to fit window again. Escape, fit window. One of the joys of this particular application, this particular interface, is that I can also do a first person, which is actually quite difficult for lots of stakeholders to understand. So we've got our normal controls, our gaming controls, if you like. We've got gravity. I'm going to escape, so I don't have that selected. I can double click to teleport. I can use my mouse to walk around. I can walk around. Walls are not respected as clash, as you can see, but otherwise all the doors would have to animate to open, but the ground is, so I can go up the stairs. I can look around the view. I can get different aspects of the building as a user would, or as a stakeholder might want to see. I can also go to my minimap and drag to a new position and do that. There's lots of options in this case. If I drag over here, I'm obviously at first floor view, but once I start moving, I should drop, which is cool. So there's a lot of really good, useful controls here. I'm going to go back to the main view. I'm going to show you some of the other controls. We have a section in detail, so we can do an ad hoc section to look through the building. X, Y, and Z, as you'd expect. We can rotate those views. Why you'd want that view, I don't know, but there we go. We have the Z plane, which is probably the most useful, I feel, through the building. We're going to have a little play with the section box as well. Oops, sorry, that one. So with the section box, we can resize the section box. a slight graphical glitch on this particular view, but I'm going to show you an easy way around it. So I can rearrange that, and you can see I've got everything else grayed out, but the main build there, it's a little bit difficult to see. So what I would do if I wanted a particular view of that, I would have the architect build me one, which is we have here. So if you create a section box view in Revit, you could very easily use that as your area of working. There's the hidden line and the shaded view are virtually the same, but the realistic view does bring a little bit more quality through to the render, as you can see. Bit more processing power, but no biggie on that one. So we're going to go and close this view. I'm going to go back to my place view, so I can now open my Revit view again just to make sure everything's cleaned down. I'm going to use my side-by-side view, which allows me to bring a 2D view or another 3D view in, but a side-by-side view. I'm going to use my ground floor drawing, which is there, off level 1, first floor in America. If I select something in this view now, it highlights and focuses on it in that view. So I can quite quickly focus on things that are important to me from a drawing. I can look at it and go, where does it actually exist in the building? Obviously, the larger the site, the harder it is to find your way around. If I come to a column up here, we can do that as well, and we can use other tools for that. I'm going to just do the opposite way. So in this way, I'm looking from a 2D view and going to a 3D view. I'm going to change that around a little bit. So I'm going to close this view. I'm going to go to my drawing that I was just looking at, but in the selection view here. And in this case, I'm going to use my drop pin, effectively. It's called a place me pin. So I can place that there and then pick a view, and it takes me back to my default 3D view in 3D. So I can walk around. So I can work both ways. I can go from the 2D to highlight things in 3D, and I can go from 2D to look around the 3D, which is really helpful for navigating the area. And you can see how things clash or don't, as the case may be. Hopefully not. From here, we're going to have a little look at the measurement tool. We can do ad hoc measures. Again, this is Revit, so it should be fine. It should be right. If I've got an angular measure option as well, I can reposition that if I've put it in the wrong place. We can also do area measures. I'm just going to measure this dotted line here, but to make it easy for myself, I'm going to select the object and hide it. So I've got less endpoints to click on. Go to measure area. So there we go. I will got that all sorted. So there's lots of tools available to us. We're going to look at markups next. So I'm going to go back to that 3D view. In fact, I've got the markups. I need to delete a few actually. 1 second. Just delete that one. So we can delete markups because they're private. If I now select this markup, it'll take me to the correct model or the correct view, a bit like Navisworks does, and it will show me the markup. This is a private markup. Nobody else can see it. I can publish it. I can edit it or close it. Once it's published, I cannot delete it because it's gone to the main group, gone to the main team, to everybody in the team. I can edit it or archive it, but I can't delete it. So how do we make a markup? It's a reasonable question. I'm going to go back to my home view on my sheets. At the back here, there's a couple of issues. There's an issue with the staircase, it's the balustrade, that's difficult to see in all the views. It's just there. There's a strange issue there. So I need to be able to make that visible to everybody. So I'm going to select that wall and I'm going to right-click, hide. Do that. We've also got the option for the browser, the model browser. So when I select something in the model browser, it gets highlighted in my model browser. So that wall there, I can turn that off there, look. I've got no option for doing a window select or a crossing select, so I've got to select it here. I can then find it in my list, scroll up, find the wall it's contained in, and I can hide that there. So I've got a decent view I can work on now, and I can make it so I can see that issue. I can create a markup, put some text on, if I could spell, that'd be great. We can change the text color and things like that, and the line color to make it easy to read. Doesn't make it easy to read, but there we go. And as you can see, once I save the markup, it will be now listed in my markup list here. If I go back to show all and then go back to my markup, it should represent and hide things away. So it's quite a nice, easy tool. Another thing we need to look at, I'm going to exit the markup there, is there's a door here that's got no vision panel in it. It could really do with a vision panel. It's difficult to get a view on it with that tree in the way. So I'll select that tree and hide the tree. I'm going to bring bring everything back on first, hide the tree, and I'm going to create an issue here. So my issue list is here. So I create an issue, that door, add vision panel. I can assign it to a company, an individual, or a role. I'm going to assign it to myself so I don't spam people with emails. I can assign this to when it's required. I can tell where it's related to, external services, other data, and the root cause. So we can look at the project in a later date and work out why these issues happen. Create that. That's all good. It's now there, number 12. Other thing I want to quickly look at is the properties panel. This is for the metadata that comes from our different applications. So we have the metadata for that wall, for that door, as you can see, changing down to the mullion. So we've got quite a lot of information here that's all obviously useful to us on site. If as you can see, I can see the markup there, so the issue there, I can turn those on and off in this view as well. So the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at some of the comparison tools. So I'm going to go back to the home view on this, and I'm going to play with the comparison tools. So I'm going to compare this version with the same view of the previous version. So we compare that. We can look at what's been added, modified, changed, that sort of thing. We can see there's 33 things being added, all highlighted in green. 2 things being removed, the trees and the modifications to the structure here, and this tree here has been shifted. So if I want to see them in their own right, I can select them and see where they've gone, what's moved, previous version, current version. I can also do a side-by-side view, so I can then see one against the other, which is quite a useful tool, so it makes things really easy to see. So we've got that option there. We've also got the compare in 2D view within Revit, but I want to show you the published things when we work with contract documents that have been published to the team on site. So if I go to this drawing, this is a PDF, it's a multi-page PDF, which I'll show you how it extracts later. I want to pick a different view that's got a change on it. So we've got a revision cloud there. So in this case, obviously I can navigate around, I can do measures, I can do all those same things. I am now going to look at the compare. So version 1 versus version 2. We have the overlay compare, as I mentioned before. If you've got an issue where somebody's moved a view within a drawing, you can move one over the other. So you can do that. I'll put that back. I'll just close my I'll put it back 1 second. Be as accurate as I can. So we can turn versions off. Yep. We can also do the side-by-side view, as I mentioned before, which is, like I mentioned before, like a piece of paper we slide back and forth. So we've got this comparison option there. We can mark up, but not in compare because you're comparing two different versions. But if I open that view, I can do, I can create a markup here for the railing. And that's obviously now going to be listed in my document management. Oops. Let's delete that one. And again, save the markup. And when I go back into my view, we'll see that there's a markup there on that one. Well, while we're here, we'll look at the options for sets. We can look at sets there. We can look at individual sets of data. Test set there. We've got a life safety set. It's one is that they're out of kilter with the current version, but it's nothing we can do about them at this point. I can select multiple views, multiple sheets, and I can from here create assign a sheet set. We can also create a review and a transmittal. If I go to review, we can have templates. So we've got a 1-part review there, created quite a complex 4-part review here. And these are all available to create as templates. So we can push there to different roles, different people as need be. The approval workflow is, as you'd expect, if I just go into my review, we can see we've got open, close, and approval reviews. We've got transmittals there that have been sent to different people, or me generally, and issues that are related to the project should come up here. So we've got that last one there. That's the information. I can then answer it. Fixing next rev. And I can add attachments on one site I mentioned before, and we can look at the activity. This is the important bit actually. I've not really showed you this. The activity of everything that happens is all listed. So it's all listed all the time. If I quickly go to the folders, I meant to show you this a little bit earlier, and look at the, sorry. I can look at the versions, as I mentioned before. We can also look at the document history, publish log. So we'll look at what's being published and when. You don't get this if you're emailing things back and forth. So you've got this whole ecosystem where everything lives in one place. I just want to quickly show you the home for this so we can see how it looks. So we mentioned it before, the home panel. And then we're done for the live bit. So it's taken a little bit longer than expected. My apologies. We see we can just want to show you we can move these things about to rearrange as we see fit for our own personal setup. There's lots of things I've not shown you because we don't have time. Hope you've enjoyed that so far. We'll go back to this if that's okay. Get my them up. So the next bit is adding PDFs. This takes a little while, so this will do another little video. I'll jump through it a little bit. We had PDFs as a document from a document management point of view, because that's how we release our documents into the system. We can extract data out of the title block, so therefore it goes into the listing as we showed you on that last project information. So our headers here can be extracted. So just really quickly, we're going to upload a file, pick the file. We're showing that it's a multi-page PDF here. Just jump through a few pages. You can see that. So just there, we open that. We are then publishing it to the cloud. We're going to set a template for the extraction of data. We can have as many as we need for different companies. So obviously different companies have different layouts of their title blocks, so we can do whatever we need in that respect. We define an area for the title block, which we're going to show you in a second, and then define what's going to be extracted from it. So this is what comes out of the box. We're going to define a new layout here. We only have two fields out of the box. We have the number and the name of the sheet. So I'm going to create a crop region, not a crop region, but an area for it to interrogate there. We'll then OK that, and then it gives me a list of parameters that are available to us. So the block, I need a block information name. We can then, there'll be a number requirement, as you see in the first one, which is the only required field actually. So if you've got a drawing number, you're good. We can change the orientation should we need to on that. So for the right-hand one, but it's quite good at sorting them out if it's wrong. Given as much of the area within the title block as possible, because those sizes may change. The drawing sheet name or the number may change. So I'm going to save that now. I'm going to use that to extract the data from all the sheets. We can see it's done the extract there. That was a bit of a video speed up there, but we can see that it's extracting the numbers quite nicely in the title. There is a slight amendment to make, which we'll come to in a second. I'll just zoom this forward a little bit. Number 4 has got a 0 in front of it, so a space in front of it, the series 4. So I'm going to replace that here and then continue with the publish. That then publishes all the documents to the correct folder, which I've just uploaded it to. It takes a little while, so this is why it's a video. We see there's one document and 17 total documents come from it, so one PDF. They're all listed. We can sort, we can arrange, we can do what we want in that respect. Yeah, so that's that. We've got version 1 because a PDF upload, not a Revit upload. Next thing I'm going to do is just a quick jump through the options for making additional attributes for your documents. So again, we're here. I'll just press play on this one. We go to the listing. Going to upload the same document set. So I can upload from here. I can upload from the blue button at the top, as you can see here. Just adding some new attributes. So let me just jump back a little bit there. I'm creating attributes here to be extracted from the title block. This one will be normal speed. Pause there. Yep. It's a text field. We can have date pickers, which don't actually pick the date. You've got to pick that yourself. That's why I picked a date picker there to show you that. We can have lists, and there's 3 different types of field. It's going to go through and add more attributes. This should speed up. I will just jump ahead a little bit so we can see a few more attributes being created. So this is just building attributes, and they're all listed across here. If you notice, it's a bit difficult to see, but the bar at the bar at the bottom is extended. It's getting longer. Difficult to show you because it's where the play bar is. So next thing I'm going to do is the same extract, but with the attributes, with the new attributes. So again, we're going to go to the correct folder. We're going to upload the latest version of the file that we've created as a PDF. So I can upload from there. I can upload from here. You know, there's multiple places to it, as with most Autodesk products. Same again, just checking that it's a multiple page. You can see the revision there. I did a scale attribute, which you didn't see being created. So in this next part of the video, there'll be a slight change. The change being that the video, I'll have to go to the second page because there's no scale on the first page because it's a cover page. So I'm going to define a brand new set, title block extraction set. I'm going to make sure I incorporate this, the text there. So I've moved to this one because there was no scale in the previous one, and I'm going to make sure I incorporate that so I can pull in the issue date. Sorry, the printed date. So now we finish that, we can now add our attributes. Again, number and title are important. And then we just add more attributes as it goes down. It's only a few seconds. So again, the widest area possible for the collection. I mentioned there's an option for changing orientation. You'll notice as it goes through that the date pick at the right, the date on the right hand side is a vertical orientation, but I don't change the orientation, but it still pulls the extraction out very quickly, very easily. So you can see I'm adding these different bits of data. Again, being shy, make sure I'm shy of that Y, so I don't end up catching that into my extraction because it's basically OCR. Just jump through a little bit so you can see these happen there. So that's my data there. Last one is the scale. We now save that. That's saved the definitions. We're then going to accept that change for those definitions, and then you can see the same thing there. It's pull the data out, give us my attribute information. Again, number 4 needs sorting out. I need to get in touch with the architect and take that space out. So up here, we'll change that there. We'll publish that, and we can then see that we're on version 2, and we will get version history there if we click on that, if it clicks on that on the video. There we go, version history. So we can copy it, we can download the source, and we can also make current. So if you've got something's gone wrong, you can then make it current, so you don't have to reproduce all your work. And I think, what's this one? That's it. I think that's us. Thank you for your time. I've enjoyed presenting this for you. It's a really useful tool, particularly in the current climate where we're working from home. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Michelle's in another room at the moment, so I'm just going to put my headset back on and see if I can see any Q&As. There's no questions.
Hi, Andy.
Hi there.
All right. Yeah, we do have a question. I think you may have answered it actually, but is BIM 360 capable for file versioning?
So I'm hoping that question means can we call versions back? So if I go to my BIM 360 environment, pull that back on my screen. If I go to the ubiquitous architectural folder I was looking at a moment ago, so I think if the question means this control, we've got version history there, and you can see, as I mentioned before, that particular document was part of a test set and it said it was out of date. If I require to bring this to my current version, I can make that current. So I can view that. If I want to go, I can open that document, and I can do a version check. One second. I can do a version check. I'll have to check the version first. I'm just going to a view that's in both of them. It makes it a little bit easier. Compare with version 10, for instance. .3D default building. I can compare those. There's a lot of changes in this. Oh, cool. That's great. Just what I needed. I'll do a compare with something different then. Great. I've got a structural. I think I've got some versions in structural. So thanks, Autodesk. No pressure there. I'll do the same again with version control there, so we can see version 4 versus version 3. You can actually see the change there quite markedly, the structure there. So compare that. We'd have to decide which was correct. So that's the modification there. If I select the modification, I can see the differences between the two versions. And I could then make version 4 current if I wanted to close version that there. And I can make version 4 current. Make it current there. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. I took it to mean the same thing. If it doesn't, please pop a note in the Q&A and we'll try and answer it again if that's not sufficient.
Yeah,
we've got another question.
Okay, I see. I've got that in the chat window. That's cool. Yep.
There's another question from Andrew Crawford. Does everyone on the team need to have subscribed to the AEC collection to use this? I can answer that one.
Yeah, you do that one.
Myself. Now, no is the short answer to the question. They don't. BIM 360 or Autodesk Docs is included in the AEC collection. That's a new addition to the AEC collection. For non-Revit users, for example, you can subscribe to a license of Autodesk Docs. I can explain it in more detail offline if you want to discuss it in more detail, but essentially you can purchase Autodesk Docs in packs. So you can purchase a pack of, you can purchase it individually, or you can purchase packs of sort of like 5, 10, 25 licenses and distribute them throughout your entire team. So it's not aimed at specific Revit users. Anybody can have it. Another question there is, does this support...
Can I just break in there, Michelle? Is that right?
You can.
Something. If you, I understand. You may be able to correct me if I'm wrong. if you buy a license of Docs, as Michelle just mentioned,
Yep.
that's transferable, so you can use it on other people's projects.
Yes, you can.
So, but the one that comes with your AEC collections for you, for your
Correct.
projects. So that's non-transferable. So if you're working on other people's projects, you either have to have your own license or they have to assign you a license. So that's a nice thing about it. The other thing that we need to look, we will do another webinar on, hopefully in not too distant, is the higher levels. The services that I showed you on the original on this sheet here. Things like where are we? Come here. The BIM glue, which is a bit of a weird one, so let's not go into that. But the coordination, the coordination information is a really amazing tool. Once it comes back on my thing and gives me some information. So the model coordination and design collaboration, which has changed ever so slightly from a naming point of view, but they're stunning. If you're working in a big team, you've got automatic clash checking. It clashes model against model, so you can just go into and look at the two models and go, what are the clashes? How do we deal with it? And it just happens. There's no messing about in Navisworks creating clash detection scenarios. The one thing it doesn't have at the moment, which I understand is being developed or trying to be developed with the Navisworks team for the viewer, is non-true clashes, so soft clashes, as you would call it. So if you've got a ductwork going through a building that's going to have a 50 mil insulation around it, you can do that soft clash in Navis, which you can't do in lots of other things or in this. So you'd have to model the insulation. Dead easy in things like plant, because you just tell the insulation on and it does it. But in Revit we don't tend to do that. So we have that option potentially. It's a really useful tool.
Thank you, Andy. One more question, which we may need to take offline actually, but I'm just going to throw it by you. Does it support the suitability codes as stated in ISO 19650?
That's down to your naming convention.
Yeah.
You've got to name that's down to your naming convention of your files that you place. So yes, is a response to that. Yeah,
it does support them if you've named them.
Well, yeah, the suitability codes are a bit quite interesting because they change quite a lot throughout the project. I believe it might be one to have offline, like you say, but you would have to be very careful of your structure when it comes to your permissions. I think that's what we're relating to, because suitability codes allow for, if I remember rightly, allow for whether it can be consumed or used as is, or so I'd have to do a little bit of checking around that, and I'm very happy to look at that with somebody, how they deal with it at the moment in their current system, in their current ecosystem, and if we can either replicate it or better it, obviously, in this. Very happy to look at that, because that's an interesting point for me. It's something I need to spend some time on. But
I think it does. You can set the permissions to be completely 19650 compliant, so you will be able to set the permissions within the BIM 360 environment.
I'm not sure where that is, to be honest. So I'll hold judgment on that personally on that one. But I'm sure if Autodesk is saying it's 19650 compliant, then there must be a way of doing it. I would say it is
in the Autodesk Collaborate and the Collaborate Pro.
It is in
what used to be BIM 360 Design, which is now Autodesk Collaborate Pro. So it is not included in the BIM 360 Docs, which has just been demonstrated here. It's in one of the higher level.
A good example to back that up, Michelle, is that we have issues and markups in this level, but we don't have RFIs. We don't have that level of detail. And just as another side for anybody who's actually already using BIM Docs or anything at the moment that side, if you've got BIM Design, you will automatically get a license of Pro, I believe. Is that right, Michelle?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you've got that, then you've already been upgraded. So yeah, there's other things on the horizon. Really interesting stuff they're doing now. When Teams first came out for the C4R years ago, about 5-6 years ago, I looked at it and I wasn't overly enamored with it. but this particular, it's got better and better and better over the last few years. And every time they bring a new release out, it's great. And with it being online, it's quite a dynamic thing. So as you may have noticed or may not, the header's changed and my menus have changed across the top here from the videos, because that changed last week, which I wasn't upset about at all. So I chose not to redo all my videos, but you can appreciate it's a dynamic environment. Things change, things are upgraded all the time. Customer information is brought through, and the idea station is quite a live environment in all Autodesk products, but particularly in the things that are online like Fusion and this sort of thing. So it's good. It's a really nice environment. It's becoming really, really usable.
Thanks very much, Andy. That's it for the questions, unless anyone has any other last minute ones.
I did notice somebody's asked about the recording. I believe we are recording this. Is that correct?
That's going to be the next thing that I was about to say. The webinar has been recorded and we will be sending out a copy to all attendees. And we'll do the same obviously for anybody that didn't manage to get on. But if anybody has any other questions that we perhaps didn't answer today, we will aim to be in touch with each of you just to get a bit of feedback on how you think this morning went and keep you updated with any future webinars.
Speaking of.
Oh, of course, yeah, we've got the 2D to 3D.
Slide. Yeah, the very last slide. Anybody who's new to Revit or has an inkling to use Revit, if they use another environment or a 2D environment, or they're using Plant or something else and they just want to have a little bit of information. If you're using Plant, I don't know who's involved in the meeting, sorry guys. If you use Plant also, the PNID side also works in Revit now through the connector. So I think the way it feels to me is that Autodesk are moving everything to Revit. Structural steelworks come to Revit recently, all structural connections. MEP has come into Revit. It's into Revit from the FabCAD Revit MEP. All that structural integrities come through. Plants come through. There's an awful lot of data sets that are coming through into Revit. So you'll do your design work, your electrical, so your schematic work in PID, for instance, and then you'll be able to bring it into Revit. It's a much faster way of working from a coordination point of view. So, but this video will give you an insight into Revit. It's a 1 hour video. It basically covers about 2 days of a 3-day training course. So it's quite quick. It's a video I've talked over because otherwise you make too many mistakes, but it's a really interesting way of moving from AutoCAD 2D into 3D. The 8-story hotel that you saw in the preview we've been looking at, that's what I attempt to build that in the hour. So it's quite a quick one, but it's an interesting video, that one. But we'll be there to. It's not just a video webinar. We'll be here to answer questions as they come through. So if that's any use to you and you're available in March, that'd be great. Great to see you again.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Andy, and thanks everybody for their time. Well, like I say, we'll be in touch for some feedback over the next few days. But if anybody does have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us on the numbers below. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.